Seem to agree on what's the best way to do these things. Like, for instance, when everybody's saying we all want to be happy, everybody wants to be happy. Is there anybody who doesn't want to be happy? But if you ask her, what is happiness? How do we get happiness? Nobody can agree on that. Or, you know, it gets much more trickier than that, you know.
Can I jump in?
Please
and clarify?
do. Please do.
I think, okay, I'm going to diagram this.
All right. Uh-oh, the diagram. Now we're in trouble.
Because I think, I actually think this will bring clarity to the conversation.
Clarity would be good.
On objective and subjective.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I think that's where I think there's a point of confusion with, I think, with maybe what we take you to be saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we both believe, I think, in correspondence.
Yeah.
Okay, so truth, right? Truth is that which corresponds to reality.
Yeah. Are we all on board with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody
We all
got that
take that.
right?
So that's,
okay.
oh my gosh, we agree with an atheist.
Woohoo!
Look at that. High five. That's so good. There we go. We got
Just
something in common with
saying,
atheists.
Christianity's all wrong and you should give it up. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Right. So here's a fundamental agreement. We believe that truth is that which corresponds to reality.
Yeah.
So what we mean when we say something is objectively true versus subjectively true, okay, is what's the truth maker, right?
I was going to say objective truth is true all the time, whether you believe it or not.
Right, we'd agree with that.
And it's true for everybody at all times.
Okay, yeah, agree
Is
with
that-
all
are we
of
doing
that.
that?
It's
Yeah.
true whether you believe it or not.
It's always true.
The way philosophers put it is mind independent. So that
It's
means
mind independent. I like that.
it,
Whether you're thinking about it or not.
whether anyone thinks about
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
these things are true. So,
I
for
like it.
instance, the Earth exists, right? That's an objective truth.
Yeah.
It corresponds to reality. There's something about the nature of the object itself,
Yeah.
right? So the truth is grounded in the object,
Gotcha.
okay? Whereas subjective truths are grounded in the preferences or ideas of a subject or a group of subjects.
Star Wars is awesome. No.
So,
Doctor Who is awesome.
yeah, or
those
let's just go the basic chocolate ice cream
yeah.
is delicious,
There you
right?
go.
Chocolate ice cream is delicious.
It's okay.
Well, so that is true. That's true for the person who believes it.
Right.
That's what we mean by
Right.
subjective. So
Right.
the question is,
Are we all on board with this so far
Yeah.
too? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
so then the question is, okay,
Yeah.
let's take let's say something you said, eating babies,
Eating babies. Yeah.
right? Let's just take the clear case example.
Yeah.
Eating babies is wrong, right? This is
And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. I don't really have any proof. I haven't really thought about it a lot, but you go out on that, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's wrong. I cannot think of a good reason for that happening. If you guys can think of a good reason why eating babies is not wrong, I'm willing to listen to it and entertain it.
You think it might be possible that eating babies?
Anything's possible. But when I say that's a clear case of that's objectively true, you know.
So we would say, I don't think you're going out on a limb.
Right.
I think you're recognizing what's morally obvious.
Yes, and by morally obvious, I'm thinking objectively true.
Yes. Okay. So,
No.
well, it's objective.
But if God told you to eat a baby, would you still eat a baby? Would God ever tell you to eat a baby?
No.
Would God ever tell you to kill a baby? Because God has told people to kill babies before.
Okay.
God has killed babies before.
Well, let's get clear on this first.
Okay, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So we got to get clear on this first because I think that's where some of the confusion is at here.
Yeah.
So you're saying this belongs over here. This is an objective truth whether you believe it or not.
Well, anything involving human beings, it gets a little dodgy. Now, if we start talking about things, and what you saw, the difference between moral and physical, I have a lot more confidence saying physical laws, because they're not really laws, they're just observations of how reality works. Those are objective. Everything about a human being, you know, there's a hint of subjectivity about everything.
Oh, wait. Okay, so these are mutually exclusive categories. Either something is grounded.
And I think that this is way over here.
This is.
That eating babies is wrong. I think that's an objective truth.
Okay.
But
You do.
But I say that not because I have strong evidence of that. I can just to make a really cogent case for that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is,
Okay,
okay.
that, you're saying maybe your difficulty is in how do I prove that?
well, here's what I'm going for. It's even more subversive than that. But yeah, let's put eating babies over there. Now let's put killing babies is wrong. Where does that fit now? Is it still objective true? Because if it is, and I think it is, that means the Old Testament is filled with examples of God killing babies.
Okay, now hold on. You keep wanting to take us to the Old Testament. Okay.
So we can do New Testament too.
Well,
But-
no.
okay.
The point is, we have to get agreement here.
Sure.
Okay. This is a conversation down the road.
Okay.
Okay. But I know you guys like this is a big target.
Well,
you like to go at.
But here's the thing. If I'm being unfair, if I'm picking on you, what I mean is, it seems like, and it's not just Christians, it's all religions, but you're all Christians, so let's talk about Christians. They all say, we have rules over here that came from God that tells us what's true, and they're all over here. And what I'm suggesting is that some of those aren't real.
Okay, but see,
and all of them, and none of them come from God.
right, but before you have that discussion, well, then what you've already implied now,
Yeah.
you've already assumed objective morality, because you are now wanting to say what's over here in this book written by Hebrews 3,000 years ago is objectively wrong. The only way you can say that is that if you hold a clear view that there are objective moral rights and wrongs.
Right. And as I said, I've tried to say,
if you want to say it's
there's
subjective, this is where I think the confusion is.
Okay.
You kind of want to try and have it both ways.
well, it's because I think it's a false dichotomy, is what I'm saying.
How is it a false dichotomy? Because something either is
Yeah.
true whether you believe it or not,
It's true whether you believe it or not.
or it's true. So chocolate ice cream is delicious.
What I'm saying is, I think most things about human beings, when it comes to saying this rule applies to you, that's not. If it's objectively true, it's almost coincidental because it's set objective. Someone's telling you that God says this.
But
Someone says God believes this. Someone says God says this is good.
I think you're confusing objective and subjective.
Maybe so.
Someone telling you doesn't make it subjective. That just means there's a, see, this is what I think you're equivocating on this. Meaning you're using this in two different senses.
Here's what I'm saying. Things that people were saying God was saying 1,000 years ago have changed. Things we're saying God was saying 500 years ago have changed.
But you're saying
those
more than
things
that.
change.
Hold on.
Am I saying more than that?
Yeah, because you're saying it's also bad.
Well, it can be bad. It certainly can be bad.
Wait,
I mean, sure, don't steal, don't kill. Those still hold up.
Right, but there are other things.
But there are other things that don't.
Let's say, whatever example you've given, killing a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying it is always wrong to kill a baby? Let's say for
Well, that's not even qualified. For no reason maybe.
for no good reason.
For no good reason. Okay, I feel like we're just digging the hole deeper now.
Well,
when
no,
we say
that
but-
just tries to bring clarity, because we're just trying to avoid a side conversation about here. Well, maybe there could be some proper justification for killing a baby because there's some greater good in the
Right.
I'm just trying
Maybe
to
they've got typhoid or
we're
something.
just
I don't
trying
know.
to
Yeah.
We're just trying to get a very clear moral
Right.
principle.
Right.
Now, do you think that's objective? Because otherwise, if you don't, you can't complain about what's in the Old Testament as being wrong. You can only say that it changes. But for them, it was right because it was what they as subjects determined.
And here's what I'm saying. We're talking a lot about what is true all the time and will be true whether we believe it or not. And then we're talking about everything else over here that's kind of a hazy mystery. And what I'm trying to say...
You're saying this is a hazy mystery?
No, I'm saying that what people have said, okay, this is objectively true and it's always true, has changed over time.
Well, certainly, but is that... Okay, so let's just take the idea of the Earth, the shape of the Earth.
Okay.
People disagree.
That's a good one. That's a good one, actually.
People disagreed about the shape of the Earth.
Right.
Did that change the nature of reality? Was the shape of
The underlying reality did not change.
Okay.
The Earth is round, or appears to be round, or slightly,
Spherical.
spherical.
Say spherical.
Whether they believed it or not, and we have all good reasons to believe that, and yet For a long, long time, Christians throughout Europe would, put people to death who said something like that.
Well, wait, can you give us documentation on that?
I can. Let's look at Galileo. He
Christians-
actually lost his whole
wait,
career.
So there are a lot of Christians that put people to death because they claim that the earth wasn't round.
And for all kinds of reasons.
But no, I'm just going to take that claim.
Okay, let's go with it.
Can you give me the documentation on that?
I can give you at least two cases where Galileo lost his career. Savonarola was burned at the stake for claiming that the world was round, and other things about
So
astronomy.
even if I grant you those two cases,
Yeah.
that doesn't prove that Christians were all going around all of Europe killing people because they thought the earth was round.
They were willing to kill anybody in horrible ways because they were wrong. They thought their scripture said something that was not true.
Okay, so I just want to get clarification on
Yeah.
your claim that Christians were going around Europe killing people because they thought the earth was round. That was your original.
I say going around, but what they were doing was, it was almost kind of worse. They were willing to kill anyone who said such things. They did in fact kill.
And you think
people.
that's morally wrong?
I do think that's morally wrong.
Okay, so that's objective.
Because it didn't correspond to reality.
So it's objective to kill people because they think the earth is a different shape.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
we would agree with you.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
then you do think it's objective, whether anyone believes that or not.
I think it's wrong to kill people for no good reason.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, and that's objective. So that's not this
Yeah.
hazy mystery.
Right. But what I'm saying is,
That's an objective truth.
and Christians act like they have a lock on that. They have not.
Well, that's
all I'm
a
saying.
side issue.
But that side issue, the stone you're rejecting is worthless, is the one I'm building my whole case on. It's the most important stone of all.
No.
The fact is, Christianity or Islam or Judaism or Hinduism, they all claim to have this objective truth. And I'm saying none of them do. None of them
And you
do.
have the objective truth.
I'm not even saying I have the whole truth. I'm just saying that all of them have parts of it
Okay.
sometimes.
But that's okay. It's legitimate to claim you have the truth, right?
Well, here's what I'm claiming. If it's not true, tell me, because I don't want it not to be
Sure.
true. I don't want to be wrong.
And that's
I don't like being wrong.
why we're here,
That's why we're here.
right? So we would say the same thing. If we're
Yeah.
wrong about reality,
Yeah.
we want to know.
And I'm trying to point out.
But the first thing we're
Yeah.
trying to do is here just make sure we're on the same page about
Yes.
things.
Yeah.
And so this is I think the thing that's getting confused. So, just like the shape, let's take this is the earth, okay? So I'm gonna do my good artwork here. There's the earth, okay?
Okay.
So that's the earth. The earth is spherical. It exists, the earth
Right.
exists.
Right.
Whether you believe in it or not.
Right.
That's an objective truth.
Right.
So it's the object that grounds the truth of it.
Right.
Okay? That's what we mean with, are these, so
Yeah.
killing babies for no good reason, you're saying also fits over here. I'll just diagram that as a box.
Yeah.
That's let's see, we'll just
No
call that
baby
the
killing.
the
Okay.
moral principle.
Moral principle. Okay, I like that.
It is wrong whether you believe it or not. So
Right.
that means this thing exists independently.
Oh, and this is also grounded in the fact that babies are important, that human life is important.
Well, how?
If human life doesn't matter, then that's all wrong.
But we're not grounding it. We're
Okay.
just saying,
Okay.
does this thing exist independent of what we
Gotcha.
believe? The
Gotcha.
moral principle, is the moral principle objective? Meaning, just like the earth,
Mm.
does the earth exist whether you believe it or not?
Yes, of course.
And what if the entire population of the world said there was no earth? Would the earth still exist? Yes, the earth was. That's what we're saying by objective, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's true, I love your definition. It's true whether anyone believes it or not.
Yeah.
Now we're putting this in that same category.
Yeah.
There's a moral principle, killing babies for no good reason is morally wrong.
And
We're
you
putting
get why I'm
that-
saying why that is?
No, so here's the question. At first we just
Okay.
want to say, do we agree that that thing's there? So it's kind of like
Okay.
this.
Yeah, yeah.
Be like, it'd be like kind of saying,
Somebody get us a baby.
the podium, yeah, you could give us a baby. The podium exists.
The podium
The
exists.
podium is real, right? Okay, we would agree. So that's an objective fact.
That's objective fact.
In the same way, we're saying there's moral principles,
Yeah.
moral values that are real.
Yes.
Now they're not physical
Because
reality.
human beings are real, because human beings have value, that makes this a moral principle.
But the idea, okay, so now all you did is just give us another moral principle. Human beings have value. That's another moral
Okay,
principle.
okay.
Now the question is, what is a moral principle or moral value?
All right.
It's obviously not a physical thing.
No.
So it's a non-physical reality.
It's a non, well, I don't know if it's a non-physical reality, but it's a concept, like liberty, like boredom, like things that come out of our minds. It's a concept.
But if they just come out of our minds,
Don't they?
then they're just...
Chocolate is delicious, comes out of our minds and our taste buds.
Does the earth come out of our minds?
No, the earth does not come out of our
So
minds.
the earth exists independently.
Yeesh.
Well, if you're going to claim these are objective, they don't come out of our minds, they exist independent of our minds.
The concept has to have a mind to conceive it and create
Well,
it.
then that would apply also for the earth.
How so?
The concept of the earth
Uh-huh.
is simply, but you're saying...
See, but there's a concept of the earth and there's a physical reality of the earth.
Okay, so
That's what I'm
this person has an idea.
Yeah. The earth
Right.
isn't just an idea. The earth isn't just a concept.
They have an idea. Earth.
Earth. Yeah.
Now, that idea either corresponds to reality
Yeah.
or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Just because they have the idea
Yeah.
doesn't make this true.
Absolutely.
So
Are we all in the same-
it corresponds, the relationship is correspondence.
Yeah.
Okay? In the same way, there might be someone who thinks that it's wrong to kill babies.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to say this is objective, that means it corresponds to reality. So that doesn't mean this person makes it. That means that thing exists and they've discovered it. So there's a difference between, so over here, this is determined by individuals. This is discovered.
I like that.
Right,
I like
so
that.
that's
And
the distinction.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. So we discover these things about the nature of reality.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do
And
now...
our discovery, let me make it very clear, it's grounded in a certain set of realities about us and the world we live in. Would you agree with that?
Well, it depends on what you mean by that.
What I mean is, we have to agree that people do have value before we can say it's wrong to kill them.
Well, we don't have to, so
I mean,
if people don't agree that other people have value,
Yeah.
then do they stop having value?
this is where we get into the objective and subjective part. I would argue, no, you can't just say you're not important anymore. If humans have value, then they have value.
Right.
You know.
Okay, so that's where, I think that's where we're agreeing
Yeah.
with each other.
I think where we're disagreeing, if I may say so, is that I'm saying that comes out of our human nature, and you're saying that's coming from God.
Okay, right, so that the question, so I think what we've done is we're figuring out that we agree on this. We agree that there are objective moral truths.
Yes.
What exactly all they
Right,
are is a separate question.
Right.
Let's just take human value. Human beings are valuable,
Yeah.
right, in and of themselves. That is a moral principle that we agree on.
Yeah.
And we
I hope we all
say,
agree on that.
and we say that if you disagree on
Then
that,
who cares about you? Yeah.
yeah, we would say that you're wrong. This is an objective moral truth.
Yeah.
Just like if you say the earth is flat, well, you can believe that,
Yeah.
but you're wrong about it.
It's like somebody saying I don't exist.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay then.
So
Have fun with
now
that.
whether or not individuals agree with it is a separate question.
Yeah.
But we're saying these things exist independently of what anyone believes.
Right. I think we've beaten this horse to the ground.
Well,
I mean,
we had some, so now what we've got is
Yeah.
these, just like the earth exists,
Yeah.
now these things, we have these things that exist.
Gotcha.
These things exist. Now the question is, where do they come from?
Yeah, exactly.
Where do they come
Exactly.
from? So
Where do they come from?
So I think that clarifies the objective, subjective.
Or are we
thing.
boring the pants off you? Because I'm a little bored up here, and I'm sitting here talking to you.
Well, then
I'm not
these
bored.
things are-
Okay, if you're not bored, okay.
I have a question.
Where did they come from? So that's the big question we're going.
So before you were talking about how you say everyone seems to be coming up with their own like meaning or like.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean they all
Ideal-
do the
yeah,
same job.
yeah.
They don't do as good a job. Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
if if there was no like I'm asking
Killing
like,
Christians
what
for
if
fun is wrong.
But it's so fun.
atheist
Go ahead.
in the atheist worldview you believe that
I'm the atheist worldview, and that the atheist, this atheist, me. But go ahead.
Yeah.
I can only speak for me.
So
Yeah.
you believe? tell me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
you believe that this whole idea of reality and just universe and everything came to be without the power of a sovereign God, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, you
Thank
believe
you.
that.
That's what I'm
Yes.
saying.
Okay.
I'm saying that the entire universe and everything
Okay.
in it, including us,
So-
came about without a sovereign God.
Yeah. And on,
yes.
on the topic of objective truth,
Yes.
we believe that the world was made with an objective meaning. Okay, that's what we believe. Okay, so and
What
you
is that
wait,
objective
and-
meaning?
And you.
Oh, you mean that it has value? You
Yeah.
mean? Okay.
And then you believe that
Wait. And you said it was made with that?
Yeah, God had a purpose.
God
in
made.
his design,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And what is God? What is God now?
Well, no, I don't want to get too into
Oh,
it.
you don't
that, that part
want
doesn't
And
matter.
what did he? Why did
No,
he do
like-
that? And who did it?
Okay, but I'm talking
And do
about
we know he did it? Do we know there's a God?
You know objective truth, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Is God objectively
All right.
true?
Just-
Is God objectively true?
Just hear me out really quickly.
I will.
So, we're talking about objective meaning, right?
Yeah,
About what
yeah.
Christians believe in. But then, who are you to say who are we as like subjective people where we can try to define
Subject to
our-
what?
We can, as subjects, we can try to define truth for ourselves, right?
Sure.
That's why
When you say subject, though, what do you mean? We're subjects.
we're individuals.
We're individual
Yeah.
person.
As individuals, we can. Yeah, for sure.
So if we were not created with, if this universe came to be by chance, right? By
well, not by chance exactly.
not by chance, but like in that idea,
It's much more interesting.
it
than that,
didn't
but yeah.
really have like a true.
There was no teleological interest saying,
Yeah.
you do this, we're going to make this happen.
There was no true meaning. So who says there's any?
But, and I'm not
so
even
wait,
saying there's no true meaning.
Yeah. So who says who says that there's any value? There's more value to human life than plant life.
Me, I do.
And-
I do. I
and
said
who-
right
who are-
here.
who are you to
I
say
said-
that?
Who am I saying? Because I am a person who thinks and have thoughts, and I recognize that every single one of you, most of you probably, most of you, maybe not all of you, but most of you are thinking people the same way. There's a kinship, a recognition that what makes me special is not just special to me.
Yeah.
It's not just because Dave Fitzgerald thought it. It's you have your own thoughts, and you have your own thoughts, and you and you and you and you and you and you, and you all have your own thoughts and feelings, and you and I aren't that different from each other.
Yeah.
So if you,
And if I think I'm special and value and should be protected, that really, why doesn't that apply to all of you?
are you saying that what makes us special is our ability to think?
No, but the fact that we do think, that is something very special. I'm not saying we're the most special or the most valuable,
Okay.
but I'm saying all of us
Are you saying that thinking makes us special, or no?
well, yeah,
What makes a human
here,
being
It's
valuable?
not the only thing that makes us special, but yeah, it makes us special. Sure it does.
Okay, so then there are some people who are.
This is me talking. This is my thoughts. Maybe
So-
my thoughts are, I'm thoughtocentric. I'm a thoughtocist. But yeah, because I'm thinking this, I think, yeah, there's something very special about it.
So if that's the case, there are some people who are more special than others.
Oh, see, that's where I'm disagreeing with you.
Well, I don't
I'm not
think
saying
that.
I'm not saying
I'm
because I
that's-
go to the bathroom that if I can go to the bathroom more than anybody else, I'm the most
But
special
you're
thing.
saying
You
something
know?
about, but thinking
Well-
makes us special.
Thinking allows us to do so many things. Communicate with each other, create art, wonder about the reality of the universe. Thinking does all these wonderful things. There's things out there that don't
Right.
think, and I take care of them 3 times a day and devote my life to taking care of them.
There
we
are
call them
also,
animals, you know?
Here would be the challenge, I think, to your view here, is that there are some people who don't have the ability to think like others and are limited in all those other activities.
Yeah, but does that
Are
make
they,
them...
are they less valuable in your view?
Thinking is shorthand for me. We are alive, we're living, our nature is human. My dad just had a massive stroke last year. He cannot think the way he used to. I still love my dad. I will always love my dad. But part of me is mourning because I've lost part of my dad.
Yeah.
Has he become any less valuable?
He has not become less valuable.
Exactly.
So that's why
We
I'm
would
saying
agree. So this would not be.
it's
able
not
to-
about thinking. Yeah.
And so I guess what I was trying to get at.
And there's things that don't think at all, and I still find them
Yeah.
valuable.
What I was trying to get at is that
Yeah.
without the belief of a God, there is really no objective meaning to anything that we have because
And I have to disagree with you. I have to disagree with you right there, full stop. You say without a God,
because
there's no
in the
yardstick.
think about
And I
it,
say,
in the
yeah,
end,
you don't need a God for
in
that.
the end, all our destinies are just us, right? We're just made to live.
Just
and
because
prosper.
something doesn't last forever, does that mean it has no value?
No, but if you
Doesn't it? Is that what you're saying?
Because I base my value on that. I guess we would base on our values on we're made by God and we were made in God's image, right?
But I mean, we haven't lived
That's
as
what
long
he's-
as God has, have we?
No, of course not.
He
Of course
doesn't-
not. Does
he
that
doesn't think
mean-
value is based upon duration?
Yeah, it's to say that something has no value because it doesn't last forever, or because it has a beginning and an end, that just means it
He's not-
exists.
He's not saying.
Okay.
He's not
Yeah,
saying.
so I
Alright.
guess I'm just trying to get at like, how do you explain that life has such like valuable meaning and like, let's say like,
Here's what I'll say. I could be all wrong about this, but this is what I think.
yeah,
And I tell you why I think that. And
So,
I'm willing
I
to
think-
entertain discussions otherwise.
So here would be the last question.
Yeah.
I think this would be the challenge. Okay, so
Okay.
these things exist independently
Yeah.
of what people believe.
Yeah.
Then the question is, where do these come from?
Right.
Now, they're not physical.
Right. They're concepts.
They're,
Would you agree they're concepts?
I would say they're more than concepts.
What was more a concept?
I would say, meaning it's not a I think you're just saying it's just, a concept would just be merely what a human being affirms. Because if it's
What
just
more do you need? What more do you need?
well, reality.
Oh,
Right,
okay,
this
oh,
is not
gotcha,
just a
gotcha.
concept.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, there's a reality behind it. Okay,
This
gotcha.
is a real thing.
And I'm talking about the reality of human value, of us being, of anything having value.
Okay,
Yeah.
is that objective?
Yeah, in that it seems to be true whether we believe it or not. It seems to be true for everybody and in all
So
times
it's
and all
like the
places.
earth or the podium.
Yeah,
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's what we're saying. But it's not a physical object.
right. And I agree with all that.
So it's a non-physical object.
Right.
So it's not mere-
non-physical object. Yeah.
immaterial.
When I think of immaterial, non-physical object, I'm thinking of concepts or ideas. It's in that realm. But and I think that I think you're saying that there's a super reality that's not corporeal.
I'm just wondering if you try to push that back to subjective.
You know.
Because is it merely a concept?
At the end of the day, a lot of times when we're talking about subject and objective, I feel like we're just playing word games with each other.
Well, we're not.
I'm just saying.
We just made a, so this is just a word game?
God, well,
That
well,
the
here's
earth
what I'm
is-
thinking. It's because what I really want to talk about here is God real? Are these rules real?
Right.
Should we
So-
obey these rules? And then when we keep going back and forth, we haven't said anything about God today, and that really kind of bugs me because that's what I want to talk about.
Well, we
You
think
know.
we have. We think we have. So if we have agreement that there are moral principles and obligations
Yeah.
that really exist, whether you believe it or not, the question becomes, what is the best explanation for such a thing?
Gotcha.
Something that would be immaterial, right, non-physical. If there are moral obligations, commands, they seem to be person-related, okay,
I'm with you so far.
right?
I don't like where you're going, but
they-
I'm with you.
They have to be it seems like moral laws.
And here's where we go. Here's where you lose me. There has to be an authority about that, and this one's not true.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where
So,
we stop.
can you give me an example?
Because I've been trying to say this up from the beginning, we don't need anyone to tell us we're valuable. We can recognize it on our own. We don't really need somebody to tell us don't steal and don't kill. We recognize
So
it.
now so here's where a little bit of philosophy helps. Because now there's a distinction between
But
the
here's the
study
thing, but can you see that you don't need an authority to have all those things?
to know those things. See, that's the distinction between reality.
Well, when you say you know it, you mean
And-
I know it with unshakable faith and confidence, or
Yeah, you don't, I don't
'Cause
think,
I don't
I don't
think
think it requires unshakable confidence
I
to know
agree.
something. So here's the distinction.
So having said that, why would you think you need an authority to say
Because
that?
of the nature of this thing.
What is the nature of this?
The nature of a moral law is such that it seems that in order for it to have authority over us, it has to be backed by an appropriate authority. So I'll give you an example. I'll
Okay.
give you an example.
Okay.
Okay, if you open, I've given this to the students to help them
Yeah.
understand the nature of this.
Yeah.
If you have a fortune cookie,
Yeah.
and you open up the fortune cookie,
Yeah.
and you pull out the fortune,
Yeah.
and there's a command on the fortune.
Yeah.
The command says, get up and leave the restaurant now.
Uh huh.
Does anyone feel obligated that they have to follow that command? Because it's a command, right?
Sure.
Nobody feels obligated to
I agree.
get up and leave now.
Especially if you know where fortune cookies come from, and that some guy in Jersey probably
Right.
drank that out and put it in the paper. Yeah.
Okay, so there's no, okay, but a police officer could come into that same restaurant, issue the same exact command, get up and leave now, and now there's an obligation to leave. What is different? The commands are exactly the same.
I'm not talking about commands. There's no commandment that tells me, thou shalt not eat babies.
Well, this is a
for fun.
command.
You know, it's an observation that killing babies is wrong. It's an observation because there's no good reason for eating babies or killing babies for fun, or no good reason.
So then this is not...
That's an observation of how the universe works. That's what I'm saying. No one has to tell you that if you know that. If you value human life, no one has to tell you that killing human life is wrong.
Okay, right. You can observe it. You can know that.
Exactly. Yeah, but
by
we're not talking
observation.
about I could not disagree with what we're talking about.
But we agree.
Yes.
But this just is a command.
Right.
Don't kill babies. That's a command. Don't kill babies for no good reason. That's
But we're not saying that. Don't kill babies.
Oh,
what we're saying is killing babies is wrong. Don't you agree? Don't you see that?
Wait,
yeah.
You wouldn't say that this
entails
don't kill babies?
It does entail it. But I'm saying you don't need a commander to tell you that. You need to recognize it for what it is. That's all you need.
Okay.
You're saying something has to be outside to tell you that. I'm saying, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
No, actually, so you've misunderstood what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm not saying at this point that you have to have someone tell you this to recognize it.
Okay.
So this is the distinction. This is where I think there's confusion in this conversation, because we think that you don't have to believe in God to know moral truth.
Gotcha.
It could be that human beings...
Say that again.
You don't have to believe in God to know objectively moral things.
Say more about that. Like, as an atheist, what moral truth do you think I live by?
You
suspect. I mean,
the value of honesty.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? You are an honest guy,
yep.
As far as I know you, Dave.
Okay?
And obviously you don't believe in God.
Right.
You don't have to believe in God to affirm the objective moral value of honesty.
So where does my desire to be honest come from?
Well, that's a good question. Your desire, I would argue that your knowledge of that is built into you as a human being. That you have a human nature.
Liar! Liar! No.
You don't think you have a human nature?
No, I'm kidding. I'm just wanting to call you a liar.
As long as we got it on film. See, call me a liar.
He's full of lies.
So we would agree that you can know those things. And if we were to divide this up philosophically, this would be the branch of philosophy called epistemology.
Epistemology. How do you know what you know?
How do you know what you know?
Yeah.
And so we could say what you believe about reality, or this is ontology or metaphysics, is the branch of philosophy that studies reality.
Yeah.
That is the nature of reality is distinct from how you know it or what you know it. We can agree that you may have different explanations for where reality comes from, but we can agree that you can know that even if you have the wrong explanation.
Gotcha.
Okay? And let me emphasize the wrong explanation.
Exactly. And I'm thinking the exact same thing over here. Yeah.
So that's where we'd say, hey, you know what? You think that we should not kill babies for no reason, no good reason.
And I guess what I want to say is, why do you guys think that I shouldn't kill babies, being an atheist?
Because it's morally wrong.
But why should I, an atheist who doesn't think that's true, not kill babies?
Because there are objective moral truths that apply to you even if you don't believe.
Sorry, I misasked. Why do you guys think I don't think that?
Well, because we think that you have moral knowledge that's built into you.
That's built into me. And I couldn't agree more. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So then the question, how does it get built into you?
Yes. How does it get built? All right.
Doesn't
now we're
seem
talking
to me that evolution can give you that.
Oh wait. Now we're talking about real things. Now we're talking about, did you see me?
Because we've been talking about fake things this whole
time. Well, no,
but
we've been talking about these high concepts, and what I really want to talk about is, does the God of the Bible pass the mustard to even be real?
Does evolution? And I want to ask, does evolution?
I would love to talk. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, because evolution gives you subjective morality.
Sure it does, and everything else. Christianity gives you subjective morality and says it's objective morality.
No, false.
Yeah.
False.
True?
No.
True. All right, when was the last time you stoned anybody to death for picking up stones on the sidewalk?
Oh man, this is the...
when was the
last time?
When was the last time you told any women to be silent in church?
Let me ask you this. Are there laws that are given today that you don't live by?
Are there laws given today that I don't live by? I'm gonna say I don't think so.
So you
I'm a
obey-
law-abiding person.
You obey the
even-
laws of Great Britain?
Oh, sorry. Laws that apply to me, yes.
Okay, laws that apply to
Right,
you.
right.
So you think it's illegitimate to ignore laws that don't apply to you?
I don't think it's legitimate. Let me put it this way. There are moral laws that I don't ignore that apply to me. Any moral law applies to me no matter who's saying
Well, but I think
what
the
it is.
people of Great Britain.
You're talking about physical laws. You're talking about legislature.
No.
You're talking about
that's not-
concepts again.
Those aren't physical things.
You're talking about concepts. If you say, are there moral laws that apply to me? I would say yes. Are there ones I disobey? That's a better question.
So,
And where are those moral laws come from?
okay, so, but my point is, you think there are laws that exist today that don't apply to you because they weren't given to you?
That's a bad analogy if we're talking about moral laws. Because if we're saying about objective moral truths, they should be true to everybody in all
But
times.
a law, let's distinguish between a law and the moral principle that grounds it or that's behind it.
Okay.
So
let's
for
talk about
instance,
that.
you could just say each country has its own driving laws, right? Is it
I'm
morally
saying that's a
wrong?
bad analogy, is what I'm saying.
Well,
Because we're talking about the
You can
way
say
we
that,
should
but it's
live.
not.
We're talking about the way she would live to have a happy life.
but okay, let's go back to this
Yeah.
point. There are moral laws. There are laws
Yeah,
in Great Britain,
right.
in the U.S., in France, right?
Okay, but let's
That are about driving.
about legislature.
Under-
legislature about a specific
You know where I'm
thing.
going, and you're trying to avoid it.
Well, keep going, keep going. I just think the analogy just fails. But keep going.
Okay, you have to tell me
Okay.
how the analogy fails, because
Okay.
you have different laws in these different countries.
Right.
Now, driving on the right hand of the road, side of the road, or left hand side of the road, you wouldn't say it's morally obligatory to follow the specific of that law. What's undergirding it is a moral principle to do no harm.
Let's ask. Yeah. Okay. There you go. What's the moral principle behind it? Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
But how it plays out depends, and in what context, depends on if it's applicable to me.
Okay.
So yes, in the same way, just like the laws of Great Britain were given to the British citizens in their context, with moral principles underneath it that would undergird it, the laws given in the Old Testament are given to a specific people in a specific context that don't apply to me. So there's no
Okay.
inconsistency.
Why doesn't it apply to you anymore?
Because I'm not an ancient Israelite in that context.
Okay.
And
But here's the thing. This is what bugs me.
So-
Is because you're talking about moral laws, and then we're talking about traffic laws over here. Two completely different spheres.
no.
Because we're talking about
you
objective.
never-
It's objectively true that you must not do harm.
Here's the
It's
connection.
objectively true.
I'm saying there's the connection. You're trying to say this is a bad analogy. No.
Here's what I'm saying. In the name of these laws, horrible things were done. Bad things were done by the Christian God.
Objectively
To
bad?
objectively bad things, like killing babies.
Okay, so that's objectively wrong.
I think we've established that, right?
How do you get an objective moral truth on atheism?
Because it's grounded in our common humanity. That is how.
What is
It's
that?
not wrong because someone told me it's wrong. People can tell me it's wrong. It's like, yeah, I see what you mean.
So
I see why that's
instead
wrong.
it's wrong because.
I discovered it through our common humanity. Yeah.
But how does common humanity give you an explanation for these? So are you saying it's our
No,
common
finish that question.
humanity
How
that
did-
tells us?
Yes.
So someone tells us, whether it's God or humanity.
Now you're playing word games. But yeah.
No, I'm just trying to get
we
clarity.
discover it. We discover it.
We discover something that exists.
We discover something that exists and it's real, even if we don't recognize it or not. If someone says, hey, look what you're doing, you realize you're being a right? And that's not helping matters. You know, you may not get it, you may not, but it's nevertheless true.
And the reason why that's true, you're saying, is because our common humanity.
Yes.
I'm not even sure what that exactly means.
What I mean is you keep saying, oh, there's something that's telling us that this is wrong. Great Britain is telling us not to drive on the wrong side of the road. I'm not talking about that.
I never said anything about that particular case.
You went down a whole spiel there about laws giving in a specific context.
I'm not
laws
saying-
giving, and that they don't apply to us anymore.
But I'm saying that that's why it's wrong. I didn't make that claim. Okay? What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to say this has a nature.
Yeah.
right? There's something of it. So as we inspect it, just like if I were to look at this,
Yeah.
and go, huh, it's wooden.
Yeah.
It's got a hard surface.
Looks like it was constructed.
It's got,
Didn't come about by accident.
So we could
Yeah. Sure.
list attributes of this
Yeah.
thing. What I'm doing over here is I'm listing attributes of this thing.
Yeah.
And so if we look at this, we say, now, after we've discovered the attributes, we go, where did that thing come from? Right, what
Yeah.
best explains the existence of a podium?
Yeah.
And if we were to say, well, it was, over time, evolutionary processes, that kind of thing, we'd say, no, a designer best explains the nature of this thing.
Yeah, and I agree that it shows evidence of clear design, unlike our appendix, unlike our coccyx bone.
That's
You
not
know.
an issue.
In fact, we have, and there's plentiful evidence of where that came from.
Okay. So, but the point is,
Yeah.
you could infer that this thing originates from some intelligent being who created it.
Let me ask you this.
Wait, just say,
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, I thought you were done with that. Okay, go ahead.
would you say we could infer, based on the nature of this thing, we could infer that this originates from some creative being?
Yes, I would agree.
So, now I know you disagree with this. I think all we're saying is that just like we inspect this,
Yeah.
and we think it has these attributes from our rational reflection, and these attributes are best explained by a creative moral authority behind them. Now, I know you disagree with that, but I just want you to see, if you can see where
and I
our
think you all see where we disagree on that bit.
But so
right?
you see how our reasoning gets us there.
You
You disagree with it.
Well, I mean, really, what says, what do you get that says it has to be from what did you call it, a creative moral agency?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
look
What
at
what
the
about
nature.
that
The nature.
has to require something else beyond just what
Yeah, so
we
it's the
are.
nature of these things.
It's the nature of these
nature
things.
of moral
I think you're
obligations.
applying one more because your religion requires you to do so.
No, all I've been doing is reasoning to this.
I get that,
So-
and yet, and I'm not pointing a flaw in your reason
So
that
for
you don't need
instance,
that. These are enough. These
Let's
are
just
enough.
let's just say I had these two.
Okay.
Let's take out authority for a second.
I feel much better already.
Let's just say I had an immaterial, person-related moral value.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay? How do I get a immaterial, person-related value from a material, non-personal process called evolution? See, that explanation is not sufficient to give
Oh
you
no!
this.
Oh, it's totally sufficient.
So
It's
you can
completely
get-
sufficient. We don't just get this from this. We get all kinds of.
How do you
Where do we
get-
get music? Where do we get jazz music?
How do
from?
you get the immaterial?
We get that
the-
from
how
evolution.
do
Where do we get anything you can think of, good or bad?
All you've
we
done
can
is
get-
just made an assertion, though. You said, we just get it from evolution.
No.
I'm saying, give me an account of that. How do you get immaterial arising from merely material processes?
That is called biogenesis, separate from evolution.
Wait,
That's my-
that's life.
That's life
That's
from
not-
lifelessness.
that's not-
Life from lifelessness is different from evolution, which shows the unfolding of that life.
So that's not, okay, first of all, that's not immaterial from material. Now you're saying life from non-life, which is another problem. How do you get life from non-life?
We can talk about that for another 2 hours.
Yeah, well, we'll do that now.
But and scientists do talk about that. They do show how things came that were not, like, for perfect example of today, these are still around today, viruses. Are viruses alive or are they not alive? Well, by this whole definition of life or non-life, they're somewhere right in the middle. There's lots of things about viruses that they're tiny little robots that have no living components that we associate with life. And yet, not only are they real, not only do they exist, but 8% of our genome comes from viruses. Okay, I mean, we can talk about that, Okay.
No, so anyway, no, we're gonna pause. I think we've had a great conversation here. So I think this brings clarity to the conversation, and at least maybe moves you and I forward a little bit here.
I hope so.
That you understand, we both have this agreement.
Right.
So this is great because we both have this agreement.
Right.
The fundamental disagreement isn't subjective objective.
It's what
Because
grounds
that's, I
it.
think, what
It's
students were
what grounds
thinking
it, yeah.
at first was, and I think what you were saying sounded like, oh, our disagreement was this.
Yeah.
No, I think
No, our
we have
agreement is right
agreements
here. Exactly.
Now,
Yes.
so there we
yes.
go. We made
We agree
progress.
to disagree. Yes.
Yeah, now we disagree on, So that would be the next,
So now we've started. Let me begin our speech.
this would be the next step in our evolution.
Exactly. Thank you. And Christianity evolves like a mofo. It's like, if you want to see evolution in action, look at Christianity. Yeah.
All right. Hey, let's
you.
give Dave a round of applause.